YouTube, what's the deal? It's your girl Jahira, and I am back. Hi. Woo! Y'all, it's been a long day, and I mean long. I am tilted. I don't know why I'm tilted. And I'm not topless. I have on a tube top, just for the record. I wanted to come in and give y'all another dating dilemma. I'm kind of like, oh my God, because I really was not anticipating having to do a video on this topic again. I mean, not so soon anyway. I sort of thought that things had kind of stabilized. But as will happen occasionally, life hath thrown me a curve balleth. And yeah, we gotta discuss it. So, part of this is gonna be, wow, Brooklyn just flew out of my mouth. Part of this is going to be a bit of a rant, and then I got an update for y'all. So jumping straight into the rant. Do y'all remember, I think it was probably my second, it could have even been my first Dating Dilemmas video, when I was telling y'all about the dude I had seen walking to the store and he gave me the "can I come home with you" line? Yeah. So apparently it's a pandemic. Apparently it's real, like, commonplace out here. And actually I made this friend. I have a new friend, y'all. And he's just a really cool guy. It's not no kind of sexual tension, anything like that. Like, he's he works at a restaurant, but he's a drug dealer. Not that I bought drugs from him, but like I met him at the restaurant. And he's like, yeah, he's just a cool guy or whatever. But I was asking him, like, I'm not from around here. Is it like regular for guys just to, ask to be invited over a girl's house? And he was like, yeah, that's pretty much how we do it, because there's not a whole lot to do around here. So yeah, people just go over other people's houses and, whatever pops off, pops off. I don't know how that became okay, but y'all, let me get into the rant. So I'm at this, I just realized this. I'm at the store again, buying cigarettes, and y'all, I don't know why you have got to look tore the hell down in order for somebody to notice you. I was so basic with it. Like, makeup was not even a conscious, there was not a millimeter of it anywhere on my face. My hair was looking crazy. I'm just in a bullshit outfit, the whole 9 yards. And of course, a guy stops me. And he wants to talk. I should say a man stops me. I'm going to get into that in a second. And he was just going through the whole thing. Like, I'm outside smoking a cigarette. I'm having a sandwich made, so I'm waiting for them to finish it. And he just gives me the whole, hi, how are you? You're so beautiful. My goodness, I love your curves and da-da-da-da-da. Apparently, big girls get life here. And I'm just like, thank you. I appreciate it, etc. And I could tell that he was an older guy, but not, like, old. You know what I'm saying? Like, I knew he was older than me, but I didn't factor him to be more than, like 37, 38, maybe 40 at the most. And I'm 32. And now, a word about me and dating. I'm one of those daylight saving time kind of girls. As in, when it comes to me and dating, I usually set the clock back. The guys that I have been with have usually been younger than I've been, at least at this particular stage of my existence. But this, he was an older gentleman and he was nice. And nice counts for a lot because there's not a whole lot of nice people out there, it seems. So he asked me his name. He asked me my name and I told him, and I gave him my real name, which, like, I never do with, like, a stranger. I usually say Ava. Ava is like my alter whatever. That's my go-to name because it's easy to remember and nobody can ever pronounce Jahira. So yeah, I gave him Jahira and he was like, hey, my name is, yeah, fuck it, he'll never see this. Rick. His name was Rick. And I said, well, it's nice to meet you, Mr. Rick. And he's like, oh, here you go with the Mr. Rick. I'm not that old. well, yeah, I am that old, but you still shouldn't call me Mr. Rick. And I'm like, okay, he was funny. And I like that, you know? Again, nice and funny. It's like ping, ping. But yeah, so he asked me how old I was. And I told him, you know, I'm 32. I'll be 33 in March. And then we started conversing again. And like about 5 minutes later, I asked him how old he was. Because at this point, it's more than just like, you know, I'm just killing time. Like, I actually am enjoying the conversation. He's funny and he's nice, and I can tell that he's educated. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just kind of feeling a vibe out. And he said he was old. And I said, well, how old is old? And he said, well, what do you think I am? I said, you know, somewhere between like 38 and 43, like at the most. And 43 would have been, you know, older than I'm accustomed to. But I said to myself I was going to keep an open mind. He said, wow, you're really nice. I said, what do you mean I'm really nice? He's like, yeah, I'm 58. Now, y'all, I have to set the scene because, I mean, this man was handsome. Like, he's not someone you would call cute. He's not someone you would call fine. But he was handsome in that kind of, like, debonair sort of way. Like, Cary Grant, Rudolph Valentino. Like, it was one of those. You know, he was a well-groomed, nowhere near 58-looking-year-old guy. Now, I realize that I have, you know, some seasoned subtastics, and, you know, for y'all, 58 may not be considered, oh, I'm 32, y'all, I'm 32. We there's a couple of eras in between us. I mean, this man was like, you know what I'm saying? Frankie Avalon. I mean, you know what I'm like? There's some distance there. My mother's in her 60s, so, I mean, come on now. So, but I was just like, okay, and so thus begins the internal struggle as to how far am I going to let this thing go with this 58-year-old man. But I said, you know what, if we're only talking friendship here, then I can handle that. And if by some stroke of fate, you know, it happens to develop into something else, you know, I won't run. I'll say that. I won't run from it. Like, I won't. Just give me some time to get there and I won't run. So, I mean, the conversation continues. And he said, so basically I had to run back in the store and get all my stuff because my sandwich was ready. And I was getting ready to go home. And I only live around the corner from the, you know, the store. But it's like 4 lanes of traffic across a very, very busy street. And when it's, you know, I'm okay with crossing it, but like at rush hour and whatever, that light don't give you no kind of time to get across the street. I mean, none. You would have to be like the Flash to push it along that street. So I was a little, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was going to do it, but I was a little apprehensive. So he offers to take me home. And I'm okay with that. And I said, yeah, okay. You know, he's 58 years old. I can take him. But, so I get in the car, whatever. And so he commences to drive me home. I mean, everything was fine. He drove me home. And I said, okay, well, what are your plans for the rest of the day? Because by this time we had exchanged numbers. You know what I mean? And he's like, well, I'm on my way to my daughter's house. He has kids, but they're grown. Why? What's up? I was like, nothing. You know, I just figured you could call me later and we could chat. And he said, and herein lies the bullshit. He was like, oh, you know, I was kind of hoping that you were going to invite me in. Can I buy a vowel? I mean, just somebody explain to me, anybody, how this became, okay, and here's my main rant. Mister, you're not even of the era that pushing up on a female like that was even considered okay. Like, you're from the time that I wish more guys were in tune with. I don't understand, y'all. I don't know. And maybe I'm old-fashioned. Like, you would think 14 tattoos and a cornucopia of piercings later, not to mention some of the extras that I've accomplished with my life, that I'd be a little bit more progressive. But I just want the time when a man would say, why don't we go have coffee? Why don't we go for a walk? Why don't we sit on the stoop and count blue cars as they drive by? When did it become, is it possible that I could introduce myself to your vagina without knowing your last name? Like, and this is, I mean, I can't even call him a grown-ass man. This is somebody's grandpappy. This is like abuelo. This is like, you know what I mean? And when he was in his 20s, it was, maybe we could go for a drive somewhere. Maybe we could go to the library and study. Maybe we could do any fucking thing besides getting your pants and you know what I'm saying, and bust it wide open with your old ass. I'm sorry, y'all. I don't mean to be vulgar, but I am just so frustrated at the state of the male species in Kentucky. I just cannot express to you enough how aggravated I was by that. You know what I'm saying? And like, with him, I kind of laughed about it. And he did call me later, and we did have a conversation, and it was a nice conversation. I haven't heard from him today. I don't know what's up for tomorrow, whether I will or I won't. I'm not particularly, my investment in that is not, so rich that I need him to one way or another. But it is a sad state of affairs, y'all. It's just irking, highly irking. So that's my rant. I'm going to try to condense my little update for y'all because I have had a very long day and I want nothing more than to pop a couple of sleeping pills and get into a fetal position and knock the hell out. Everything is well with Marco and I. I mean, we've been in contact, like, I'd say every other day, and we talk through webcam, and all that is fine. I'm not saying that it's not. But someone has resurfaced from my past. And I am going to call him Danny. I guess Danny will work. Danny? What the fuck? Danny is fine. Danny and I have known each other for years. I mean, years. Like, I think we go back to 07 easily. 07, possibly even before that, maybe 06. We've known each other for quite some time. And Danny and I, how does one sum it up? Danny and I were never officially together. But what we had was certainly above and beyond the bonds of friendship. There were really strong feelings really strong feelings attached to our interactions with each other. Now, obviously we were never together, so we never broke up, but, extenuating circumstances transpired, which kind of drew us apart from each other, and we didn't speak for maybe 2.5, 3 years. Yeah, 3 years, easily. And so this year, he reached out to me and knocked me off my feet. Actually, he reached out to me through YouTube. He found me here. And, I was blown away. Because, again, this is somebody who had a very, very specific place in my heart. And we started communicating, through YouTube, and then we moved over to Facebook, and now we're video chatting with each other. And there's something about, Tyler Perry, when he played Medea, in one of his plays, talked about Old Faithful. And Old Faithful is that person that you can always, like, no matter where you're at or who you're with in your life, that person that you can always fall back on. That person that we all, well, that many of us have, stashed in the back of our closet that should have, a need arise. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a sexual need. It can just be, an emotional desire for support or affection, or, you know what I mean? It can be any myriad of things. But there's always sort of that one person outside the bonds of your official relationship. Needless to say, Danny was my old faithful. And I'm fairly sure that I was his old faithful. And so now that we're kind of talking on video chat, because he does live a distance from me. Hell, at this point, everybody lives a distance from me. But we saw each other for the first time in 3 years. In some ways, it felt like the first time ever. And there was no pretense. There was no, it was just sort of raw and real and face to face. And slowly but surely, all of those feelings that oh my God, I haven't even really articulated this to myself, and now I'm talking to y'all. I must really love y'all. I just want you to know that. But yeah, so like all those feelings have kind of are creeping their way to the surface. And then too, and just so y'all know, it's not like a one-way, situation here. When he looks at me, there's something. I mean, I can't put my finger on it, and I don't want to jump the gun and try to speak for him. But he it's a really, y'all would just, you ever have somebody look at you and they're just staring like through you? It's so intense. And I know that this is not just like, hey, I'm talking to my buddy and it's great to reconnect. I mean, believe me, and make no mistake about it, we've had this foundation of friendship for quite some time. Like, there's always going to be this great, playful banter, dialogue, laughter, all of that we have going on. That's not going anywhere. But my gut, which I am learning to really pay attention to, is saying to me, this is not all there is to that story. And maybe what I'm feeling, I'm not the only one feeling it. If that makes any sense to y'all. I'm praying to God it does. But yeah, y'all, that's the update, and I'm dead set and determined to keep this under 20 minutes. But I just wanted to come at y'all and kind of brief you on what's going on, and I will gladly take all the advice that you have to offer, because this is hard, y'all. Dating in your 30s is vastly different than dating in my 20s was. I mean, vastly. And I think it's just because when you know yourself better and you expect more of yourself, then you expect more of the people you allow in your world. But this ain't easy. I'm just here to tell you this is not easy. So please, any advice you have, I mean, don't hold back. Don't be shy. This is not the time to be shy. This is the time to help Jahira out. But yeah, I'm gone. And I'm coming back tomorrow. And I'm just, you know what I mean? We're going to end this here with a bang, y'all. Like, I'm not disappearing. I'm just not. God willing, I'm not disappearing. So I love y'all. Keep me in prayer. I'm praying for all of you. Pray for my sister. Please pray for my sister. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? No names necessary. Just say a prayer for my sister. I love y'all. One love.